All right. Indicated, everyone has been sworn. This is your first appearance before the magistrate of Clayton County. I just programmed the system to go live, so I apologize for that. As I was saying, we're going to advise you. All right, you're here to be informed of your charges against you, advise of certain rights, set the bail on those offenses for which this court is authorized to set bail, to schedule a preliminary hearing, to determine whether you are required the assistance of an attorney. You do have the right to remain silent and say nothing. Give up this right. Anything you say during this proceeding may be used against you. This matter goes to trial or any future hearing in your case. During this and all proceedings, you have the right to be presumed innocent until the state proves beyond a reasonable doubt your guilt. You have the right to an indictment by grand jury for most felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors. You have the right to a speedy and public trial by jury. The right to see, hear, and cross-examine witnesses who are called to testify against you. The right to compel the assistance of witnesses on your behalf by way of subpoena, the right to testify and offer evidence in your own defense should you choose to do so. Should you choose not to do so, no presumption of guilt may be raised. You have the right to an attorney to represent you. At this point, the court is going to appoint a court-appointed attorney to assist each of you unless you already have an attorney assisting you in this matter. Some of you will be allowed to restricted bond for your release from jail pending prosecution of the case, which may be cash, commercial, or property. If you post cash bond, someone will deliver the full amount of the bond in cash together with applicable mandated fees to the sheriff, who will hold it your final court date, at which time the bond will be returned to the person who posted it. If you use a commercial bonding company approved by the sheriff, someone will have to pay the company somewhere between 15 to 18% of the total bond for their fees, and those funds will not be returned. They normally use that for their services. Some post a bond using their property if they have net equity in the property in an amount equal to 3 or 4 times the amount of your bond. Will have special conditions on your bond that prohibit you from contacting certain people or going to or around certain places. This special condition will be provided to you on a separate form. You will also be prohibited from calling or having other contact with the victim while you are in jail. Should you violate the court's order, your bond will be revoked and you would not be able or entitled to bond while awaiting trial. An additional charge of aggravated stalking, influencing witnesses, or other charges as the law may provide could be brought to you, for which you could be sentenced to years in prison and fined up to $20,000. For family members who will assist you in posting bond, they will be provided information of your bond amount after we have concluded the first appearance calendar. If a family member is a victim on the warrant and there are special conditions that you have no contact with that family member, he or she will not be allowed to post bond. Some of you are charged with offenses for which this court is authorized by law to set bail. And a bond hearing will be scheduled before a superior court judge and you will be informed of that date. If you are currently on active probation, this court is not authorized to set. Your bond can be considered after your probation officer has an opportunity to determine if they wish to file a warrant for violation of your probation, usually during the preliminary hearing. The purpose of a preliminary hearing is that if there is enough evidence or cause to justify being detained until such time as your case goes to trial. If those of you who are charged with misdemeanors, you will have an option to waive your preliminary hearing. Waiving your hearing will not affect your right to post bond, your right to have an attorney assist you or represent you if you qualify for one, right to trial. If you post bond, your preliminary hearing is automatically, and you will be mailed a notice on when you will appear in state court or superior court for your arraignment. If you cannot make bond, you may waive your preliminary and be taken before a state court judge, at which time, if you plead guilty, you will be sentenced. If you plead not guilty, a trial will be scheduled. If you choose to have a misdemeanor preliminary hearing, the hearing will be scheduled for June the 22nd at 8:30 a.m. courtroom 201. For those of you charged with felony offenses, you will not have the option of waiving your preliminary hearing today. Your preliminary hearing will likely be scheduled for June the 23rd or June the 25th at 8 a.m. in courtroom 201. And those that are needing a bond hearing, that'll be June the 26th at 8 a.m. in courtroom 201. I am going to call you one by one. I'll handle the attorney matter first. Counsel, who you here on?
Good morning, Your Honor, or good afternoon, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Good
everyone.
afternoon.
I am Brian Steele, here for Mr. Mitchell, Efron, Mitchell.
All right, just give me a moment to pull.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Hi, sir.
Okay, you're not gonna be able to talk.
Good to see you.
Good seeing you, Mr. Mitchell.
Thank you, man.
All right, Mr. Mitchell, you are charged with 4 counts of forgery in the 3rd degree and obstructing an officer. Counsel, do you waive the formal reading of the charges?
That is true, Your Honor. We waive.
All right, that total bond is going to be $21,500. And Mr. Mitchell is ordered not to violate any laws if he posts bond. Do you think he'll be able to post bond?
It is my understanding that bond will be posted, Your Honor.
All right, that preliminary court date is going to be set for June the 23rd, 8 a.m. in courtroom 201. And sir, you may return with the deputy. Counsel, does that conclude your business?
Your Honor, thank you so much. Bye, Mr. Mitchell. God bless.
Good one. Thank you. All right,
May I
now,
be excused, Your Honor?
yes, thank you. Have a good day.
You too, Your Honor.
All right, Zachary Boynes,
What's the last name, Your Honor?
B-O-Y-N-E-S, Boynes,
Bowens.
Zachary.
Zachary. Hey.
Don't close it.
After this is going to be Anthony Carrington.
Going down the list
Judge, are you going down the list?
Are you gonna go down the list for one
on
day?
May 16th?
To the best of my ability, and I think I should be on, unless you all want me to go.
Can you start May 15th and we just go down?
Yes.
Is that too
All right.
much?
Then we'll start with D'Angelo Barlow. That's fine.
Don't close it, Lord.
So it's gonna be Barlow and Bigby.
After Mr. Barlow be Dominique Bigby. And you're D'Angelo Barlow?
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Barlow, you're charged with violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act, that is possession of methamphetamine. Do you waive the formal reading of your charge?
Ma'am?
Do you understand what you're charged with?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, do you waive the formal reading of your charge?
What do you mean by that?
Reading out what the officer said occurred on May the 14th.
Oh, no, ma'am.
All right, sir, you do not have a time. It looks like you are under sentence out of Texas. That sentence date was August the 29th, so you do not have a bond at this time. Your court date is set for June the 23rd at 8 a.m. in courtroom 201. And you may return with the deputy.
Come on.
Mr. Big to be Bernard Carr. And your Dominique Bigby.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, your criminal trespass, do you waive the formal reading of your charge?
I don't understand.
Do you need it read all out?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, it said that on May the 14th, you intentionally caused visible damage to a Vizio television worth $150 in the children's room belonging to the victim, Tianan Durden. At the incident location, the officer observed the damage to the, to the video, the television, and the victim had a video. Your bond is $3,500. You're ordered to stay away from Tianan Darden, not to return to 151 McFerrin Place in Riverdale, Georgia. If you have any of your belongings at that address, you are to make arrangements with the sheriff to pick it up, and you're not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you waive your preliminary hearing, or would you like to have it?
If I have it now, or
If you have it, it'll be scheduled for June the 22nd, 8:30 a.m. in courtroom 20.
no, I'm not gonna waive it.
All right, that's gonna be set for June the 22nd, 8:30 a.m. in courtroom 20. You may return with the deputy.
The next one is gonna be Bullard, Judge McFarland. Carr and Cobb are out of bond.
You said cars out to bond?
Yes, ma'am. Carr and Cobb, they're out on bond. So the next one is Bullard, then after that's gonna be Gray.
No, hold on. This is all from the 15th?
Yes, ma'am. Carr and, Bernard Carr and Terrell Cobb are both showing not active.
Car. My next one is A.
Hey, Jermaine Gray, right?
Gray.
No, actually, after Bigby, because that was just Bigby, right, ma'am?
We did Barlow and Bigby, yes.
So the next one would actually be Bullard. I'm gonna have to get Bullard. Can you do Gray? Because I have Mr. Gray here and I'll go get Mr. Bullard.
Yes, but I don't see Bullard, so hold on a minute.
It's a female, it looks like, actually.
All right, I separated the male and female.
That's fine, that's fine. So we'll just do the males, that's fine.
All right, so gray, and then is green.
Green, yeah.
All
Okay.
right, thank you.
Come on. Malik Green?
All right, you're Jermaine Gray.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Gray, you're charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Do you understand what you're charged with?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand what you're charged with?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
What did you say? Do I want to waive it?
The formal reading of your charges.
No, ma'am. I just want to go and get this over.
All right, it said that on May the 9th, you did make an assault upon the person of James Thrasher with an object, a baseball bat. It said that you struck the victim in the head, times causing severe head trauma. You do not have a bond at this time. You're ordered to stay away from James Thrasher and not to violate any laws if you post bond in the future. Your court date is set for June the 23rd at 8 a.m. room 201. You may, deputy.
All right, so say no bar right now? No bar.
The green is Dustin Harbor. And you're Malik Green?
Ma'am?
Sir, you're charged with possession of marijuana less than an ounce. Do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
What does that mean? What does that mean, ma'am?
I'll read it out for you. It said that on May the 14th, you were in possession of amount less than an ounce of marijuana, that it was located in a 2013 Sonata that you were in. Officers searched the vehicle and a small bag was located under the passenger seat where you were sitting. You have an OR bond and you're ordered not to violate any laws be post bond.
What's the
You may
OR?
return on your own recognizance and you may return with the deputy.
Come on. Put on your
Judge McFarland. Next, I have Christopher Henry. And then I have Dustin Harper.
All right, I'll do Christopher Henry and then Harbor.
And Harper?
Is that how you have it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Christopher Henry,
Yes, ma'am.
sir, you're charged with criminal damage in the 2nd degree. Do you waive the formal reading of your charges or would you like them read out?
Read out, please.
It said that on May the 9th, you did intentionally damage the property of Taylor Paul by throwing her white iPhone X at the window, breaking her screen. You also damaged her phone charger and broke the strap of her purse. Your bond is $7,500. You're ordered to stay away from Taylor Paul, not to return to 7423 David Circle in Georgia. You're not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
Ma'am.
You,
I'm sorry, cut out. Say it again.
Hold on.
do you think you'll be able to post bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Your court date is set for June the 23rd at 8 a.m. in courtroom 201. You may return with the deputy. And you're Dustin Harbor. After Mr. Harbor is Daquan Harris. Mr. Harbor, you're charged with family violence order violation. Charges read out. Or do you waive the formal reading?
Ma'am?
All right, it said that on May the 14th, you knowingly and in a non manner violated the terms of a family violence
I knew,
order.
ma'am, I knew nothing of this order. I've never been
No, you
served.
don't
with
say
it.
that. Just listen to the judge.
Said that the victim, Barbara Bishop, notified Clayton County 911 that you were at her address in violation of a family court order, which had been served on you April the 9th by the Clayton County Sheriff's Office. Your bond is $1,000. You're ordered to stay away from Barbara Bishop, not to 6260 Walker Road in Riverdale, Georgia. You're not to if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
Yes, ma'am, how much is it?
$6,000. And
Yep.
do you waive your preliminary hearing or would you like to have it?
I would like to have it.
That's going to be set for June the 22nd, 8:30 a.m. in court 01. You may return with the deputy.
Thank you.
All right. After Mr. Harris will be Moses Harrison.
See your name.
Go ahead.
All right. Quan Harris. Are you Daquan Harris?
Yes.
All right. You're charged with obstructing an officer in disorderly conduct. It says on May 14th, you were loitering in a parking lot at 6231 Highway 85, Homestead Suites. That you were approached along with two other subjects and advised that it was unlawful to be there, you began causing a scene by becoming loud and cursing and disturbing the peace. As the officer attempted to take you into custody, you resisted through your wallet, got into a fighting stance. Further states that you refused all verbal. Your total bond is $4,000 and you're ordered not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
Yeah.
Is that a
Do
yes?
you waive your preliminary hearing or would you like to have it?
Yes.
Would-
What do you mean by that? I'm saying, what
Do you waive your preliminary hearing or would you like to have it?
you mean by wave?
Ask her.
What you mean by wave?
Stand by to sign your waiver.
Judge McFarland,
Yes.
on what the waiving means.
I couldn't hear you from way back there.
I'm sorry?
Wasn't clear. He wasn't clear because he was in the far back of the line when you were making the announcements.
Oh, okay. If you're waiving your preliminary hearing, you're saying that you do not want that hearing that speaks to probable cause. And if you waive it, if you'd like to have it, we have a preset date for June the 22nd at 8:30. If you don't know what to do, we can give you a court date and then you can speak with your attorney. If you choose to waive after, the attorney will notify the court.
So if I can pay bond, I waive it or like what?
Your bond is not affected one way or the other. It'll automatically be waived post bond though.
Okay. Do you know how much I'm supposed to pay? Like,
Your total bond is $4,000, sir. All right, so I'm gonna set your court date for June the 22nd, 8:30 a.m. in courtroom 201. Once you speak with your attorney, if you choose to waive, they'll notify the court. You may return with the deputy. All right, after Mr. Harrison is Jeremy Hogan. And you're Moses Harrison.
Yes, ma'am.
So you're charged with obstructing an officer. It is said that on May the 14th, you was blocking the room. You were in 166. And when the officer tried to make a lawful attempt, you were causing and you refused when you were asked several times to stop.
I didn't hear what you
Your
said.
total bond is $2,500 and you're ordered not to violate any laws if you post bond.
Judge McFarland, he wasn't clear on some of it. You went out.
Yeah, you got muted.
Because you can still hear.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, it says that on May the 14th, you were in the room 66 where Daquan Harris, the officer attempted to make a lawful arrest on Harris, who was causing a scene. When Harrison was asked to move several times, Harrison was blocking the door entrance for me to get in by Mr. Harrison, and then grabbed and you were then placed under arrest. And that's the reason for the obstructing an officer charge. Your bond is $2,500 and you're ordered not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
Yes.
Do you waive your preliminary hearing or would you like to have it?
Yeah, I like to have.
That's gonna be set for June the 22nd, 8:30 a.m. courtroom 201. You may return. After Mr. Hogan, I have Javen Holmes
Kennedy.
and Hogan.
Yes, ma'am.
You're charged with possession of marijuana less than an ounce and use or possession of drug objects. It says that on May the 14th, you were in possession of the marijuana by having a clear bag of green leafy substance in the center console, along with several roaches or marijuana rolled in a tobacco. The officer conducted a stop of the vehicle after a 911 call was placed for a suspicious vehicle parked backwards in a dead end.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and when you all rolled down the window, the officer indicated a cloud of smoke rolled out the window. Search of the revealed 2 small clear bags of marijuana and a grinder, with a pipe and a grinder.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so you have an OR bond, and you're ordered not to violate any laws if you post bond or when you post bond. You may return with the deputy.
Okay, next is,
After Mr. Holmes is Blake Kennedy,
yes, ma'am.
and you're Javian Holmes. You with speeding, possession of a commission of a crime, and violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act, and that is possession of heroin. It is said that on May the 15th, you committed the offense of speeding when you was driving 50 miles an hour in a mile-per-hour speed zone. You also committed the offense of possession of firearm during the search of the vehicle. Firearm was located under the center console. You also had several small blue in color. Suspected purple heroin was also located during the search of the vehicle. Your bond is $20,000, and you're ordered not to violate any law post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
Yes.
Your court date is set for June the 28th, 8 a.m. in courtroom 201, and you may return with the deputy. After Mr. Kennedy is William Lassett. And you're Blake Kennedy.
Yes, ma'am.
You're charged with crossing the guard line with drugs and possession of marijuana less than an ounce. Said that on May the 14th, you entered the Clayton County Jail with a jar of marijuana less than an ounce. The suspected marijuana was located inside the pocket of your inner shorts, under your pants. You crossed the guard lines of the jail with the illegal narcotics. Your bond is $9,000, and you're ordered not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
Good.
Your court date is set for June the 23rd, 8 a.m. in courtroom 201. You may return with the deputy. After Mr. Lasted is Joshua Mapson. Mr. Lasted, is said that you were charged with 2 counts of criminal damage to property, stalking, criminal trespassing, and simple battery, family violence. Do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
I'm sorry.
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or you want me to read out each one?
No, ma'am, you don't have to read them.
All right, sir, your total bond is $27,500. You're ordered to stay away from Malcolm Fleming's, not to return to 1620 Brookstone Ridge in College Park. If you have any of your belongings at that address, you are to make arrangements with the sheriff to pick. You're not to violate any laws if you post. Do you think you'll be able to post?
I can post today, yes. And that was
Your court date is set for June the 23rd at 8 a.m. in court 01. And you may return with the deputy.
Repeat the bond, it went out, it kind of froze.
$27,500.
room 201, you said?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next, Joshua Madison.
After Mr. Mapson is Rondrico Nash. All right, and you are Joshua Mapson.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you know what you're charged with, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you want your charges read out loud? I can't hear you, sir.
Oh, Your Honor.
You said,
No, Your Honor.
all right, your total bond is $100,000, and you're ordered not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you post bond?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your court date is set for June the 23rd at 8 a.m. in courtroom 201, and you may return with the deputy.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm on this way, sir.
All right. After Mr. Nash is Robert.
Isaiah Strickland.
And you're Rodrigo Nash.
Yes, ma'am.
You're charged with malice murder, possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime, and possession of firearm by a convicted felon. Sir, do you understand what you're charged with?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you need me to read each of them out, each of the charges out?
No, ma'am.
All right, so you do not have a bond at this time, and you're ordered not to violate any laws if you post bond in the future. Your court is set for June the 25th at 8 a.m. in courtroom 201. That's your prelim. And then bond hearing will be 26 at 8 a.m. in 201. So June 25th and June 26th, 8 a.m. and 201, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
You may return with the deputy. Thank you.
Mr. Magistrate.
After Mr. Salins is Isaiah Strickland.
You can get what
All right, you're Robert Salins.
Oh.
Sir, you're charged with violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act, possession of MDMA. Do you need the formal reading of your charge?
No, ma'am.
You do not have a bond at this time. It looks like you're under conviction July the 18th of 2019. Your court date is set for June the 23rd at 8 a.m. in courtroom 201.
Is there a
You
reason
may
why?
return with the deputy. Say it again.
Come on, sir.
All right, after Isaiah Strickland is George Wheeler. And you're Isaiah Strickland.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Strickland, you're charged with theft by receiving stolen property. Do you understand what you're charged with?
No, ma'am.
All right, it said that on 14th, you were in possession of a green 2020 Dodge Challenger. Upon the officer performing a property check at the incident location, you smelled a strong odor of weed coming from inside of the vehicle, at which time he proceeded to check the vehicle license. Dispatch then advised that the vehicle was reported stolen out of Coweta County. And then he upholstered his departmental issued gun and approached the vehicle, advising himself and giving giving verbal commands to the driver until backup units arrived, and he placed you in custody of one of the Lovejoy Police Department vehicles. Upon reading you your Miranda rights, you advised that you leased the vehicle from a dealership in Noonan by giving $1,500 to one of your friends that worked at the location. You were taken into custody. Your bond is $15,000, and you're ordered not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond? Your court date is set for June the 23rd at 8 a.m. in courtroom 201. You may return with the deputy. After Mr. Wheeler is Montre Williams. And you're George Wheeler.
Yes, ma'am.
You're charged with possession of marijuana, an ounce, possession of a weapon during the commission of a crime, and possession of. Do you waive the formal reading of your charge? All right, it is said that on May the 15th, a green leafy substance was located hidden under the center console of the vehicle that you were in during a search. It said that you were in possession of a firearm that was located hidden under the center console of the same vehicle. and that you also had several small blue in color pills, suspected marijuana, which was also located during the search. Your total bond is $23,500, and you're ordered not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond? Sir? Your court date is set 23rd at 8 a.m. in courtroom 2-1. You may return with the deputy.
Who your last name?
After Mr. Williams is Stanton Williams,
Who your last name say today?
and you're Montre Williams. Charged with red light violation, obstructing an officer, giving a false name, address, or date of birth, and possession of marijuana less than an ounce. You, what you're charged with?
Excuse me, you blanked out a little bit?
Do you understand what you are charged with?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you waive the formal reading of charges?
It's fine, ma'am. I understand.
All right, your total bond is $5,000. And you're ordered not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you waive your preliminary hearing, or would you like to have it?
Excuse me?
Do you waive your preliminary hearing, or would you like to have it?
If I waive it, what does that mean? If I waive it?
It means you will not have a preliminary hearing. If you don't waive it, we have a date set for June the 22nd. If you don't know what to do, you can wait and speak to an attorney and then make a decision at that time, and we can give you a court date today.
I will wait. Can I wait till I get bonded out and then I can deal with it?
Okay, I'll give you a court date as of today. It'll be June the 22nd. Once you speak to your attorney, if you change your mind, they'll notify the court. So that's June the 22nd, 8:30 a.m. in courtroom 201. You may return with the deputy. All right, deputies, after Mr. Williams, are you going to do the females from the 15th, or you want to do the 16th?
You want to do I have the 16 males, but we could do the females from the 15th. It's up to you. It would be better if we do all the males first.
Okay, so then it'll be Zachary Boynes next. You are Stanton Williams.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you're charged with criminal trespassing. Do you understand what you're charged with?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you waive the reading of your charges?
Ma'am, say that again.
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
What does that mean, ma'am?
All right, I'll just read it out. It says that on May the 14th, while in a verbal altercation with your mother, Tremaine McCummins, you did intentionally and without authority begin damaging her property. Says that you completely destroyed a standalone cabinet belonging to the victim. In the process of the cabinet, you caused a hole in the drywall of the hallway with a part of the broken cabinet. The offender also damaged the drywall of his bedroom closet. Says that damage was estimated to be less than $500. And this did occur in Clayton County. Your total bond is $3,500. You're ordered to stay away from Tremaine, not to return to 5519 Denny Drive in College Park, Georgia. You have any of your belongings at that address. You are to make arrangements with the sheriff to pick it up, and you're not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
Ma'am.
And do you waive your preliminary hearing, or would you have it?
Ma'am.
Do you waive preliminary hearing, or would you like to have it?
Does that mean you wouldn't like to have court? I mean, ma'am, I don't know what that means.
Okay, so I'm at your for June the 22nd at 8:30 a.m. in courtroom 201. After you speak with your court-appointed attorney, if you choose to waive, they'll notify the court, okay? All right, thank you, sir. You may return with the deputy.
Next is Zachary Boynes. And then,
All right, after Ms. Boynes will be Anthony Carrington.
I have Carlson Constant, and then Carrington. It doesn't matter, whichever one you want to do after one.
Say it again, I didn't hear you.
I have Carlston Constant, and then Anthony Carrington. I could do either way, it doesn't matter. Whichever order you want it to be.
Those are yours. All right, and you're Zachary Boyens.
Yes, ma'am.
You're charged with possession of marijuana less than an ounce. Do you understand what you're charged with, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you waive the formal reading of your charge?
Yes. I mean, what does that mean?
All right. It says that on May the 16th, you was in possession of 15 grams of marijuana. It was located in a black book bag located in the trunk of your vehicle, 2000 Nissan Altima. This did, and you were in physical control of the vehicle.
Yes.
You have an OR bond and you're ordered not to violate any laws if you're on,
Yes.
and you may return with the deputy.
Next is Carlston Constant.
Right. And you're Carlston Constance.
Yes, ma'am.
You're charged with simple battery. You understand what you're charged?
Yes.
The formal reading of your charges?
Yes.
All right, your bond is $5,000. You're ordered to stay away from Patricia Zaffron, not to return to 3386 Mount Zion Road in Stockbridge, Georgia. You have any of your belongings at that address, you are to make arrangements with the sheriff to pick it up, and you're not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
Yes, I can post it right now.
Do you waive your preliminary hearing, or would you like to have it?
I'll have it.
That's going to be set for June the 22nd, 8:30 a.m. in courtroom 201. And you may return with the deputy. After Mr. Carrington, I have Stephon Collins. And you're Anthony Carrington.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, sir. You're charged with criminal trespass, damage to property.
Ma'am, I'm sorry.
Do you understand what you're charged with?
No, ma'am, because I broke my.
All right, let me read it to you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
It says that on May the 15th at 1365 Ellsworth Circle in Clayton County, Georgia, you did intentionally damage the property of Annalise Young without the consent of the property owner. The damage being $500. You did throw her phone down on the ground, causing it to break.
Yes, ma'am. Your Honor.
Your bond is $3,500. You're ordered to stay from Annalise Young, not to return to 1365 Ellsworth Circle, Atlanta, Georgia. If you have any of your belongings at that address, you are to make arrangements with the sheriff to pick it up, and you're not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you waive your preliminary hearing, or would you like to have it?
It doesn't matter. I'm not sure, ma'am.
I'll set it for June the 22nd, 8:30 a.m. in courtroom 201. After you speak with your attorney, if you choose to waive, they'll notify the court. You may return with the deputy. After Mr. Collins, I have Brian Earl. And you're Stephon Collins.
Ma'am.
Brian Earl.
Sir, you're charged with 2 counts of participation in criminal gang activity, violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act. That is possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, speeding and possession of a weapon during the commission of a crime. Do you understand what you're charged with?
Yes, ma'am. Yes and no. I don't understand why they charged me with the gang activity when all I had was my name on my car.
I can read out what they have, that you on May the 15th, knowingly and willingly participated in criminal street gang activity by possessing and selling marijuana and controlled substance in the amount of 673.8 grams, knowingly possessing a firearm, even though you were felon, it's known that the offender's personal history being verified by the Georgia Department of Correction and of his own self admission that he is a member of the criminal gang Rolling 60s.
No, man, I did not admit that.
All right. So your total bond is $70,500. You're ordered not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Your court date is for June the 23rd, 8 a.m. in courtroom 1. You may return with the deputy.
Okay. Can you say the room one more time?
201. After Mr. Earl, Rodney Gilmore.
No.
All right, you're Brian Earl.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, sir. You're charged with defective equipment in violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act, that is marijuana, more than an ounce. Sir, do you understand what you're charged with?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
I would like to have that reading.
All right, it's said that on May the 15th that you did operate a Pontiac Grand Am with defective brake lights. Upon making contact with the driver, the odor of marijuana was smelt. When asked if there was any marijuana inside the vehicle, the arrestee explained there was. A search of the vehicle led to discovery of 2 large paper bags which contained individually wrapped baggies of marijuana. The marijuana was weighed and found to be over an ounce. Your total bond is $8,500 and you're ordered not to violate the laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
You kind of broke up when you were saying it. Could you repeat that for me, please? My bond?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, sir.
You were breaking.
$8,500. Are you talking?
No, ma'am. $8,500.
Yes, sir. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
Yes, ma'am.
And your court date is set for June the 23rd at 8 a.m. Courtroom 201. And you may return with the deputy.
One second, sir, please. Thank you, Your Honor. Appreciate it.
After Mr. Gilmore is Anton Green. All right, you're Rodney Gilmore. Sir?
No?
All right, Mr. Gilmore, you're charged with violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act. Is cultivating marijuana, possession of marijuana less than an ounce, and possession of drug-related objects. Do you understand what you're charged with?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
You can read them to me. Yes, ma'am.
It's said that on May the 15th, officers executed a search warrant at 67 Burnham Circle in Jones, Georgia. Upon execution of the search warrants, detectives located 2 small marijuana plants in the backyard of the location on the approximately 1 gram of marijuana in a coated closet, 6 marijuana seeds in a coated closet, a marijuana cigar in a master bedroom, a marijuana cigar in your vehicle, and a marijuana grinder and digital scale in the living room. This all occurred in Clayton.
Okay.
Your total bond is $12,500 and you're ordered not to violate any post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
Yes, ma'am, certainly.
Your court date is set for June the 23rd at 8 a.m. in courtroom 201. You may return with the deputy.
You said 201?
Yes, sir.
Yes. You said
All right, after Mr. Green is Claude Griffin.
Yes, ma'am. And after Mr. Griffin, I have Brian Hill. And then D Hill.
Okay. And you're Anton Green.
Antoine, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Green, you're charged with being a traffic habitual violator and driving on a suspended license. Do you understand what you're charged?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Do I waive the formal reading?
Yes, sir. Sir?
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
All right, your total bond is $6,500 and you're ordered not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
All right, your court date is set for June the 23rd at 8 a.m. in courtroom 201, and you may return with the deputy. All right, after Mr. Griffin, you say you have Brian Hill.
And then, first name together for D Hill, so Brian Hill and D Hill.
The judge, get this up.
Sir, are you Claude Griffin?
Ma'am.
You're charged with possession of marijuana less than an ounce. We've dismissed the violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act. That does not mean that the state cannot bring that charge at a later date. You're ordered not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
It depends on how much he was.
Your bond is $1,500.
Oh yeah, I can post it.
Do you waive your preliminary hearing or would you like to have it?
I would like to have it.
That's gonna be set for June the 22nd, 8:30 a.m. in courtroom 201. You may return with the deputy.
So that means my bond $150?
Okay, I didn't hear who you said you had next,
Have Brian Hill and then Maurice Hill.
and then, okay,
Okay, all right, Brian.
all right.
Yeah, go ahead, let them out.
All right, and you're Brian Hill?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hill, you're charged with family violence order violation. Do you understand what you're charged with?
Trying to figure out how I'm charged with.
It's on May the 9th. It knowingly, willfully, and in non-violent manner violate the terms of the family violence TPO issued against you in Clayton County Court on February the 28th. It says that you did violate the order by contacting Shanteria Hill via phone call and direct message via Instagram. The officer observed the messages sent from the offender. He was able to identify the offender's identity due to his profile picture being adjacent to the message sent via Instagram. Shanteria Hill did not initiate the contact with the offender. To observe numerous phone calls on Ms. Hill's cell phone dating back to May the 7th, 2020 from the said offender's cell phone number. The officer was able to match the cell phone number of the said offender provided by Ms. Hill with the number listed on NCIC. Your bond is $5,000. You're ordered to stay from Shanteria Hill and not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
5,000, yes, I should be able to, ma'am.
Do you waive your preliminary hearing or would you like to have it?
What's the preliminary, what's that like?
All right, so we're gonna set it for June the 22nd at 8:30 a.m. in courtroom 201. Once you speak with your attorney, if you choose to waive, they'll notify, okay? You can return with the deputy.
Come on. Put the pen down. Put the pen down. Put the pen down. That's all. 201. Doesn't matter.
All right, just give me 1 second, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Go in there. I'll stand by the prison wall. No, go through that. Yeah.
All right, sir, you are Demoris Hill.
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
All right, so you're charged with theft by deception. Do you understand what you're charged with?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
I don't understand.
All right, it is said on January the 13th of this year at 6811 Terra Boulevard in Jonesboro, Georgia, that you did obtain a Canon digital camera and 2 camera lenses by an unknown means with the intention of depriving the lawful owner of the said property, Cash American Pawn, as the property was worth $450, said that you did pawn the items on January the 13th
Yes,
at
ma'am.
18:14 hours, received $210 in exchange for the said property.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah.
Bond is $2,000 and you're ordered not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you're able to post bond?
Your Honor, I was gonna see if you can honor OR bond.
No, sir. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
My bond.
$2,000?
Okay, okay, yes, ma'am.
And do you waive the preliminary hearing or would you like to have it?
It's a good thing to have it, right?
I don't know that it's good or bad. What I'll do if you're not, I can set it for June the 22nd and one to your court appointed attorney. If you choose to waive, they'll notify the court. So that's going to be June the 22nd at 8:30 a.m. in courtroom 201. You can return with the deputy.
Go to the floor. The next is Alan Hayes.
Okay. All right, you're Alan Hayes.
Yes, ma'am.
You're charged with battery, obstructing an officer, and giving false name, address, or date of birth. Do you understand what you're with, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No.
It is said that on May the 15th, you did intentionally cause physical harm to the victim, Kendra Palmer, during a physical altercation between Hayes and Ms. Palmer. You intentionally caused Ms. Palmer to sustain a bruise on her right inner arm during the investigation. You did give false name of Brandon Bailey and a false date of birth of 12/23/1991. Upon checking GCIC and NCIC, it was discovered that the name was false and you were taken custody. You're charged with battery, obstructing an officer, giving a false name. You have a bond at this time. It says that you're under sentence out of Clayton County Court. You're ordered to stay away from Kendra Palmer, not to return to 330 Upper Riverdale Road in Jonesboro, Georgia. If you have any of your belongings at that address, you are to make arrangements with the sheriff to pick it up. And you're not to violate any laws if you post bond in the future. Sir, do you waive your preliminary hearing or would you like to have it?
Waive it.
All right, stand by to sign your waiver.
Nick, step up to the podium. Howard, step up to the red. Nick, step up to the podium.
Are you Carl Hicks? Are you Carl Hicks?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Hicks, you're charged with battery. Do you understand what you're charged with?
No, I don't.
That on May the 15th, you did push the victim, Savarian right, with your stomach, your finger in the victim's face. This action caused the victim to fall to the ground. Says that you then started punching the victim in the face with multiple closed fists. Multiple cuts and scratches to the victim's face area.
Oh, I did.
and that there was a witness that observed the whole incident. This was done in Clayton County. Your bond is $5,000. You're ordered to stay away from, not to return to 1103 Fairway Point Drive in Riverdale, Georgia. You're not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
Yes or no, sir?
No.
Do you waive your preliminary hearing, or would you like to have it?
I'd love to have it.
That's gonna be set for June the 22nd, 8:30 a.m. in courtroom 201. You may return with the deputy. Charles Way,
All the way coming up now.
and you're Charles Holloway.
Yes, ma'am.
So you're charged with hit and run, striking a fixed object, improper lane change, possession of marijuana less than an ounce in violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act. That is possession of cocaine. Understand what you're charged with?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
Can you, I don't know what that means. I was in the back. I couldn't hear you.
I said, do you waive the formal reading of your charges since you understand what you're charged with?
McFarland, he said he doesn't understand what you're saying. He was saying.
Oh, okay. It said that 15th, you did commit the offenses when you were in control of a 2016 Toyota Corolla, when you left the lane of travel and struck the victim's mailbox. Your vehicle flipped over, then you left the scene prior to police arriving and did not notify the victim that you had struck the mailbox. It says during the vehicle's inventory, 6 grams of marijuana was located in the passenger compartment of the vehicle. They also located 3.2 grams of a white powder tested positive. Your bond is $15,000. You're ordered not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Your court date is set for June the 23rd at 8 a.m. in courtroom 201. You may return with the deputy.
You should have wrote while she was talking.
I have Brandon Hudson next.
I can't hear you. I couldn't hear you, sir. So stand in that flower.
Brandon Hudson.
How you doing?
Are you Brandon Hudson?
Yes, ma'am. Take it off.
All right, sir, you're charged with obstructing an officer.
Okay.
Oh, stand by, she's come back. Stand by to, okay? Stand by. Okay,
All right, sorry about that, Mr. Hudson. You're charged with obstructing an officer. Do you understand what you're charged?
No, ma'am. Obstructing the officer, what's that?
Said that on May the 15th, you did commit the offense of obstructing an officer when you did attempt to hide Reginald Robinson in your residence after learning that Mr. Robinson was wanted by the Clayton County Sheriff for violation of probation. It said that this did occur in Clayton County. Your bond is $2,500 and you're ordered not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post?
Yes, most definitely.
Do you waive your preliminary hearing or would you like to have it?
No, I'll waive it. No,
Stand by this.
I like to have it. I like to have it.
It's gonna be set for June the 22nd, 8:30 a.m. in courtroom 201. You may return with the deputy.
Oh,
I have John Johnson next.
Oh, sir, put the pen
Stand
down.
down, Mr. Hudson.
all right, I'm
Let's stand in the floor.
And you're John Johnson.
Ma'am.
You're charged with reckless conduct. Do you understand what you're charged with?
No, I don't. They didn't tell me it was reckless conduct.
It is said on May 15th, you did endanger the bodily safety of another by consciously disregarding a substantial and unjustifiable risk by firing your 380 Smith & Wesson at your girlfriend's vehicle's tires. You said that you shot 4 times at the vehicle since it occurred in Clayton County. Said that you placed multiple persons in danger by bringing this weapon in apartments in close proximity of each other. Bond is $5,000. Not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you waive your preliminary hearing or would you like to have it?
I like to have it.
It's going to be set for June the 22nd, 8:30 a.m. in courtroom 201. You may return with the deputy.
Next is McCall. Devon McCall.
Take it up with me, Mom.
All right, and you're Javon McCall. You're charged with driving without a license.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand what you're charged with? Do you waive the formal reading of your charge?
What is that?
It said that on May the 15th, sir, you were driving a vehicle when you were unlicensed. You were driving a Dodge Ram 1500
Yes, ma'am.
FL tag, Florida tag, temporary tags. You have an OR bond of $1,000. You're ordered not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able, well, we've given you a bond. You may return with the deputy, sir. I have Mr. Opoku.
Yes.
Yes.
You're William Opoku.
You say yeah?
I say yes.
Oh, okay.
Sir, you're charged with container, which we've dismissed at this time. That does not mean that the state will not bring that charge at a later date. You have violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act, which is possession of marijuana with intent to distribute. You also have possession of a weapon during the commission of a crime. Do you understand what you're charged with?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you waive the formal reading of your charge?
What does that mean?
All right, it said that on May the 15th, you were in possession of amount of marijuana over an ounce, along with a firearm and a large sum of money in a vehicle. This was discovered after a citizen called about a vehicle being parked in the cul-de-sac for a period of time. Your total bond is $20,000. You're ordered not to violate any post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Your court date is set for June the 23rd at 8 a.m. in courtroom 201. You may return with the deputy.
Come on, sir.
I have Peters next,
Yes, ma'am.
and your Draper Peters.
Yes, ma'am.
You're charged with family violence battery, sir. Do you understand what you're with?
Yes, ma'am, I do now.
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
No, ma'am, I do not. That's fine.
It is said that on May the 15th, you intentionally caused substantial physical harm and visible body harm to the victim, Dominique Curl, when you scraped her with an open palm or slapped her with an open palm, leaving a mark on the left side of her face and causing her left ear to bleed. Said offender and victim were in an argument over the text messages made by the victim to her friend. That bond is $5,000. Order that you stay away from Dominique Earl, not to return to 942 Sleepy Hollow Lane in Jonesboro, Georgia. If you have any of your belongings at that address, you are to make arrangements with the sheriff to pick it up, and you're not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to bond?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, would I be eligible for OR bond?
No, sir. And do you waive your preliminary hearing, or would you like to have?
I would like to have it.
Going to be set for June the 22nd at 8:30 a.m. in courtroom 201. You may return with the deputy. I have Slater next.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Slater, you're charged with reckless driving, driving on a suspended license, improper lane change of an officer, driving with no insurance from police, driving without proper tags, red light violation, and driving on the wrong side of the road. Do you understand what you're charged with?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges? It said that on May the 15th, while patrolling SR 138 and I-675 South, the officer observed in physical control, the offender in physical control and traveling upon the public roadway on a dirt bike, an Apollo 250X with no tags. The officer then attempted to conduct a traffic stop of the vehicle when you refused to stop after activated all emergency equipment. The offender then sped up going off the roadway around cars. You also put red lights at the intersection. The offender also drove on the wrong side of the road going into oncoming traffic. Once stopped by being blocked off by patrol cars, you then got off the dirt bike and attempted to flee on foot after receiving several verbal commands to stop. Once in custody, it was learned that the offender's driver's license is also checked the VIN number on the dirt bike, and there was no return for insurance or registration. Your total bond is $9,000. You're ordered not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond? Sir?
Ma'am.
Do you waive your preliminary hearing, or would you like to have it?
I would like to have.
That's gonna be set for June the 22nd at 8:30 a.m. in courtroom 201. You may return with the deputy.
Next should be Thomas, District Foreman.
Yes, ma'am.
Start writing, okay, to defend the, start writing when you're talking, okay?
All right, Mr. Thomas. You're Zachary Thomas. You're charged with carrying a concealed weapon, loitering or prowling and obstructing an officer. Sir, do you understand what you're charged with?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
What does that mean?
Just read it for you. It said that on May the 15th, you was hanging out in front of a building F at 240 Flint River. The officer works as a security at the apartment. The property manager advised that they do not want people hanging out there. When you saw the officer, you took flight. The officer yelled at you to stop. You were wearing a blue and color fanny pack on your neck. It said that you threw it down, and it was recovered. Inside of it was a Taurus handgun, and it said that you do not have a permit. Your total bond is $7,500, and you're ordered not to violate if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you waive your preliminary hearing or have it?
If I waive it, what does that mean?
That you will not have your preliminary hearing for probable cause.
I would like to have.
That's going to be set for June the 22nd at 8:30 a.m. in courtroom 201. You may return with the deputy. Freddie Williams next.
Next should be Williams, and then Yearby.
Yeah, and then Yearby, that's right. All right. Williams,
How you doing?
you're charged with battery and cruelty to children in the third degree, I'm sorry. Sir, do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or you want them to be read out?
Yes, I waive.
You waive them? All right, your total bond is $8,500. You're ordered to stay away from Jasmine Hayes and Kalani Williams, not to return to 681 Mount Zion Road in Jonesboro, Georgia. If you have any of your belongings at that address, you are to make arrangements with the sheriff to pick it up, and you're not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond? And do you waive your preliminary hearing, or would you like to have it? Sir? All right, it'll be set for the 22nd at 8:30 a.m. 201. You may return with the deputy. All right, Zachary Yerby?
Judge McFarland.
Yes.
Okay, now I'm gonna go back to the 15th and start with the females. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, you're Zachary Yerby.
Yes, ma'am.
You're charged with violation of seatbelt law, possession of marijuana less than an ounce, use or possession of drug-related objects, and violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act. That is possession of marijuana with intent to distribute. Sir, do you understand what you're charged with?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or you want them to be read out?
I waive the formal reading.
Your total bond is $11,000, and you're ordered not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Your court date is set for June the 23rd, 8 a.m. in courtroom 201.
Ma'am,
And you may return with the deputy.
Judge McFarland, you went out on the court date. Could you repeat that for him, please?
June the 23rd at 8 a.m. in courtroom 201.
Appreciate it.
Okay, the next one is gonna be female Bullard, and then it's gonna be Garland.
Okay, just give me 1 second.
Ma'am, come on. Garland, step up to the red line.
And they on the route, last one route. No, it's, a little more coming down the hall. Coming down the hall, now, you just go out. That's the last one.
She said 1 minute. I'm gonna put the females in here after she finished talking. So say right here this way.
All right, thank you for holding. Ma'am, what's your name?
Quiet. That's Carlo Bullard.
All right, Ms. Buller, you're charged with obstructing. Officer, do you understand what you're charged with?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you waive the formal reading of your charge? Or you need out?
I'm sorry.
Ma'am, you went out, Judge McFarland. Can you repeat the last sentence you said?
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or you want me to read out the whole incident?
No.
Ask her, tell her if you want her to read it or not.
Yes.
Yes,
Ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, you, okay, it says that on May the 14th, you were out causing a scene, you refused to stop or step away from law enforcement after being asked several times. It says that you stated F you to Deputy James once asked to back up, and then you were asked several other times to back away, and you refused to take custody. Your bond is $2,000 and you're ordered not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
Yes.
Waive your preliminary hearing, or would you like to?
You went out, I didn't hear what you said.
Do you waive your preliminary, or would you like to have it?
She said that, okay, Judge McFarland, you went out, you froze just a little bit again.
I said, do you waive your preliminary hearing, or would you like to have it?
I guess that's the court, right?
She's not.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You want, okay, it's June the 22nd at 8:30 a.m. in courtroom 201. And you may return with the deputy. I have Garland next.
Take the paper, put the pen down.
Oh, I can hear the room. That's okay.
It's Darlene Garland. So come to the court.
Okay. All right, you're Darlene Garland?
Harris.
Are you Darlene Garland?
Yes.
All right, ma'am, you're charged with 2 counts of criminal trespassing. Do you understand what you're charged with?
Jennifer McCary.
No, because I stated.
All right, it said that on May the 14th, you committed the offense of criminal trespassing by damaging the door frame of Charles Lewis, the bedroom door. This is the estimated value of $100. It also says that you committed the offense of criminal trespassing by breaking away from Charles not to return to 89 Pepper Tree Drive in Jonesboro, Georgia. If you have any of your belongings at that address, you are to make arrangements to pick it up, and you're not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
Yes.
Do you waive your preliminary hearing, or would you like to have it?
You froze through the bond amount, so we didn't hear the bond amount.
$5,000? Ma'am, do you have a preliminary hearing, or would you like to have it?
I would like to have it.
That's going to be set for June the 22nd at 8:30 a.m. in courtroom 201. And you may return with the deputy.
Let's go, put the pen down.
I have Nigeria Harris. Is that who you have?
Yes, ma'am. That's what's coming up next.
All right, for Nigeria Harris. All right, Ms. Harris, you're charged with obstructing an officer. Do you understand what you're charged with?
Yes.
Do you waive the formal reading of your charge?
Yes.
All right, your bond is $2,500 and you're ordered not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
Yes.
And do you waive your preliminary, or would you like to have it?
I would like that.
That's going to be set for June the 22nd at 8:30 a.m. in courtroom 201.
You said at 8?
8:30 a.m. You with the deputy. I have next Jennifer McCrary.
Ma'am. Let's go, this is to the red line.
All right, and you're Jennifer McCrary?
Yes.
All right, Ms. McCrary, charged with aggravated assault. Do you understand what you're charged with?
Yes.
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or you want me to read it out?
No, I waived.
All right, you do not have a bond at this time. You're ordered not to return to 7026 Chimney Ridge in Riverdale, Georgia. You're not to violate any laws if you post bond in the future. Your court date is set for June the 23rd at 8 a.m. in courtroom 201. You may return with the deputy. I have Newsom.
Yes, Newsom is next. You step up to the red line, so.
All right, Ms. Newsom, you're charged with battery and cruelty to children. Do you understand what you're charged with?
Ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges, or you want me to read out the incident?
Yes, Your Honor, I waive.
All right, your total bond is $9,000. You're ordered to stay away from Unro Estragaribaya. You know who that is?
Yes, sir. He doesn't live at, yes, ma'am.
All right, and you're not to return to the 5237 Norman Boulevard in Atlanta, Georgia. If you have any of your belongings at that address, you are to make arrangements with the sheriff to pick it up. And you're not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll be able to post bond?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, he does not live at that address.
He's never lived at that address?
No, ma'am. He lives at 246.
Hold on, his belongings are not at that address?
No, no, ma'am.
And he has never lived at that address?
No, we co-parent there. We co-parent there.
What does that mean?
We share a daughter. We co-parent there. The lease is in my name at 5237 Norman.
Okay, so let your attorney provide us with additional information to consider changing the bond, but that's the order at this moment. Speak with your court-appointed attorney. Do you waive your preliminary hearing or to have it?
I'm gonna post bond, so I have to waive it, right?
You don't have to. I can give you a court date, but you won't have it if you post bond, if that makes sense.
Okay, then I waive, Your Honor.
All right, stand by to sign your waiver. All right, next I have Tyler Crowder. You're Tyler Crowder?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Crowder, you're charged with possession of marijuana less than an ounce, driving on a learner's permit, and driving with no insurance. You also have violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act, that is possession of marijuana with intent to distribute. That possession with intent to distribute has been dismissed at this time. That does not mean that the state will not bring that back at a later date.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand what you're charged with?
Ma'am.
Do you waive the formal reading of your charges?
I want to hear it because I really was
Just-
confused on what I got charged with. I was confused. So. Yes, Your Honor. Yes. I want to hear what I was charged with.
All right, let me read it out to you. It says that on May the 15th, while driving a learner's permit, the non-class in your vehicle, you were driving a Mercedes Benz, and it says that you have insurance on that vehicle. It said that you were in possession of less than an ounce of marijuana in 5 red individually wrapped bags on the floorboard of the back seat of the vehicle. It says you and the co-defendant both occupied the vehicle, and neither one of you claimed possession of the marijuana. Your total bond is $3,000, and you're ordered not to violate any laws if you post bond. Do you think you'll post bond?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes,
I can't hear you.
Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. Yes.
I hear you all. Are you all muted?
No,
No, ma'am.
we're not muted.
Yes,
I
Your Honor.
can't hear you.
We're not muted.
Yes.
Listen, honey. Stop it. I'm just trying to hear us.
Can you hear now, Judge McFarland?
You all are muted.
We're not muted.
Can you hear?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I cannot hear you.
Check your end, Judge. Right from your end.
We're not muted.
It's not muted.
Can you hear us now?
It's from my end.
Judge McFarland. 'Cause
I
if we
think
got-
she froze. She went.
yeah, we got pulled.
I got a question. Is it 300 in all? Is 3,000
When you
in
go to the
all?
bonding company, they will let you know.
Okay.
We can know that.
Cause I'm only 17. I ain't never even been here before.
Stand up straight, honey. Stand up behind the podium.
If anybody without a license right now, when you can go get one without even taking a job test.